Suicidal ideation is the thinking about, wishing for, planning for, concerned with, preoccupation with, contemplation of suicide. If you're having suicidal thoughts, reach out to a professional. Let them know how you're feeling. I had a friend that unfortunately went through with committing suicide. This was just after college. We were young, and it brought a lot of shock and pain to his family and to us as his friends. The community was rocked. His family was just in a dark cloud. It was like they couldn't function. And I remember his mom had us as the friends come over to like clean out his room because they couldn't even like bear to like touch his belongings. They had to take his pictures down because it was all just too painful. I remember after finding out about his suicide, having trouble at work. Like, I was like distracted and like in a fog and like kind of haunted. There was just this haunting feeling. Suicide is so dark and it's so violent. It's such a violent action. But what's striking about suicide to those who survive it is it's illogical. In the case of my friend, he didn't leave any note behind, but even when someone does leave a note and they explain, well, here's how I felt, it was very much an emotional decision. It was not a decision that was made based on consideration for others and all the factors involved. It wasn't strategic. It wasn't a decision made that is overall reflecting wisdom. It's something that's emotional because a person is experiencing pain, and the pain is very great for them. And so they feel like, I can't take this. I can't handle this. They feel like nobody understands me. Maybe they feel like no one loves me or no one cares, or they feel unworthy of going on, of having success. They feel overwhelmed. They feel desperate. They may feel hurt. They absolutely feel helpless. In all cases of suicidal ideation, a person feels powerless to do anything to fix the situation, which is just totally unacceptable to them. And so it seems like a simple solution. I just do this act of violence against my body, and then it kills it, and then I don't have to deal with it anymore. I can just stop the pain. And because it seems so simple, a person with suicidal ideation may actually become obsessed with the idea. They just keep thinking about it. They keep resorting to it when things get tough. They bring it up in their mind. They may even talk about it. And then there they start to finally feel some sense of power. Because when they bring it up and they say to their loved ones, well, I'm just going to end it. Now they see their loved ones get afraid. They start becoming more careful around them. But making our loved ones walk on eggshells is ultimately a toxic way of trying to control our situation. What we've really done is we've gone from one extreme, which is that we're not getting the respect because we're people-pleasing, or we're trying to become overachievers, or we're playing small in our life and we're not speaking up, and we're not saying what we really think and saying how we really feel. We're not going against the grain. We feel like we don't know how to assert ourselves. We don't know how to express our feelings. We don't understand our feelings. We don't know how to make other people understand our thoughts. We're afraid to set boundaries. We're not being assertive. Ultimately, we're being too nice. But don't you see the irony from going from just being this person who makes themselves so small and is just so nice, and I'm not going to create any conflict, to now I'm going to kill a person. And it's going to be the person that you all love. Somebody that's important for you. I'm going to kill them I don't want you to make any mistakes, so I won't mince words. When you commit suicide, you are committing murder. And it doesn't feel like that because we've reasoned, well, it's just me and I don't count. But that's not true. You equal human. You are a human. And so you're a part of the human family. And so killing any human is murdering a human. It's a violent act. The body sustains the soul. The soul is this ethereal part of you. It is your life that scientists can't explain, but we know that the body is sustaining it. When we cut off the body's ability to continue to sustain itself, then it can no longer sustain the soul. And in that moment, you cease to exist, and we're left with the remnants of your body, which, by the way, someone has to clean up. Someone has to find it and be traumatized. That was never your intention. You're not trying to traumatize other people. You're here because of trauma yourself. You are a survivor of trauma. You've been through a lot and you're going through something right now. That's why you're having this ideation. You're looking for a way out and escape. And that's natural to want a quick fix to the pain, to the problems that you're experiencing. But we have to get out of just allowing the emotions to be our guide in life. The emotions don't produce wise results for us. If you were entrusted with my car, would you just let it get dirty and let it go into disrepair and then finally be like, this thing doesn't matter, and drive it off of a cliff and destroy my car? And I come back and say, hey, where's my car? Oh, I don't know. It didn't matter to me. I drove it off. Would you do that with my car? Well, then don't do that with your body. Your life has been entrusted to you to care for. You are the person responsible for caring for the body. You cannot contemplate just killing it. If a child was dropped off on your doorstep and the government commanded you to care for the child, you would not suddenly start plotting its murder. So don't do that with yourself. You never asked to be here, but just like a child that's dumped on you by the government, you are a soul that was just given to you to care for. It is your responsibility to care for it. So therefore it is immoral to kill it. To contemplate killing it is contemplating an act of immorality. It's important to understand that. So we have to get out of this helplessness and get into personal power. Ask yourself, what can I do over the next couple of years to change my situation so that I'm not feeling so helpless? Recognize that you are powerful. You're creative. You're entertaining. You can play with kids. You have the ability to solve problems. If you want a sandwich, you can go and make a sandwich. You can make food for yourself. You've done your homework before. You've gotten good grades before because you're powerful. You are a capable being. So you can solve problems. So ask yourself, what is actually good about this situation? How can I change the way I look at this to see how this actually could be good? Or if the situation itself can't be good in any way, how will this eventually end to my benefit? How will this have a happy ending? I want you to just imagine a possible happy ending to all of this. Take your time. In fact, pause the video and write it down in your phone in a notepad somewhere, or on a piece of paper is fine too. But actually write it out. How this is all going to end, everything that you're going through, how it's all going to end in the best way possible. Write that down. Take a moment and do that now. We have to recognize that the worst possibilities may be possibilities, but also the best possible case scenarios are possibilities as well. Our negativity bias has got us thinking so negative that we're at the point where we just want to end it all. But that's ironic because you didn't really want to hurt anyone. You wanted to help people. You wanted to be there for people. You wanted to be loved by people. And there's nothing more loathsome than what it is you would be contemplating by actually thinking of taking your own life. So instead, let's work inside of personal power and positive possibility. That's a lot of P's. But the positive possibility is thinking about the best case scenario. What could possibly happen? What could go right? And personal power is thinking about what little things you can do to nudge things in that direction, to change your situation for the better. All of us are going through hard things, and right now you might be going through some of the worst things you've ever experienced. But you'll notice when you look back like 2 years ago, there were problems then too, weren't there? But did many of those problems eventually find a solution? A lot of things have actually improved from a couple of years ago. And in your case, you might say, well, no, everything hasn't improved. Things are just as bad as they were 2 years ago. But it doesn't change the fact that 2 years ago, it would not have made everything better to have committed suicide. The reality is, when we take a step back and we look at the big picture of our life, what we're going through now may just be a temporary problem. In fact, all problems are temporary. So we don't need to rush to a drastic solution that would be permanent, negative, and devastating. Not only to others, but even to ourselves if we were to survive it. So let's focus on the most positive possibility. And the next time you have a suicidal thought or you think about suicide, say to yourself, no, that's unacceptable. That's not what I want. Speak back to it just like that. And remain in personal power.